Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm one half of Team Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley, and I might be doing this by myself. Looks like I don't have any help today.
Help! I can help! That's what I'm
Thank
programmed
you.
for.
I was concerned I'd have to do this on my own, but glad I asked for help.
You might be a continent away rather than a quadrant, but don't worry, I'm here to assist.
Commander Cockings, everyone, has joined us. Thank you. At least a hologram version of him for this spoiler full review of Prodigy Episode 1, Lost and Found. And look, he was lost and now I found him, the commander. Look, so many meanings for the title. I mean, that's awesome. What did you think of this first episode?
Yeah, so obviously, first a brand new show. It's our pictures a kid show. They kind of come back from that little bit. And going in, we knew a little bit about the ship, a little about the people, but not a lot. And this episode was obviously the setup episode. All focused on the characters. You kind of feel it was a 20 minutes worth of story, but they packed in 20 minutes worth of the main character extra, which is fine for a pilot, but it kind of felt like extra in one way, you know. But I mean, you got to know him a bit. I think it was a pretty good first episode. I think the pacing was a bit off in a few places actually, but that might just be the limitation of it. It's a kids show, and if your demographic is under 15 years old, then some of the logical elements you can kind of ignore a bit more than a higher end show for more adults, just to let the plot continue. And it felt a little bit like they were fully focused on getting to the end rather than kind of making the journey make as much sense. But I enjoyed it. But like I said, some pacing issues, which isn't the end of the world. It's you know, they're not pitched as 40-minute episodes, so them making a double bill in one episode is already against the theme of the season, you know? Like, you have a certain structure, so of course it's going to be a bit odd.
I super enjoyed it as well. I've been looking forward to this ever since it was first announced and had really high hopes. And so far it's paid off. Really enjoying the format and the visuals and everything about it. I just wish that we hadn't got to the da-da-da, here's Captain Janeway, and it's over. I was hoping that'd be a little bit quicker, but because actually I was really invested. It didn't seem as long as it was. And at that point, I'm like looking at my watch going, oh, it's actually, no.
44 seconds left. Okay, then.
So, I mean, getting to that point was good. Like you said, it was very much a setup episode. You know, they had to get the MacGuffin, which is the ship. You had to introduce all the characters. And I think that was all really well done. You said some pacing issues. I didn't really sense that. So I'm interested to hear where those are. The things that I had problems with, there was a few moments where a character was here and then all of a sudden they were back here. And it's like, how'd that happen? So little things like that were a little bit But other than that, I super enjoyed it and loved the visual style. As I said, the music cues were very JJ, but with no payoff. It was that dun, dun, and then not the dun, 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 which is a really good part of that. But to be fair, the best parts of the JJ movies for me was the music. So I kind of love those little keys. I just hate that we didn't get the payoff for it because it was like building up and then no. It's like, oh, no, stop.
And in fact, the music was pretty good, but had a lot of Star Wars beats. I was kind of surprised even a couple moments was like, that's almost exactly a riff from Star Wars, which actually went with quite a few of the visuals were almost directly from Star Wars. I mean, General Grievous is in it. Almost verbatim. There's a pod race.
Transformer.
Also a Transformer out of nowhere. Yeah, there's a pod race sequence almost that like it's almost from shot for shot remakes of Star Wars scenes. And obviously, there's only so much media you can create, but it must have been intentional. There's too many Star Wars similarities to be accidental. It was very Star Wars themed, I felt anyway.
I feel it kind of ties into the whole Clone Wars.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's for kids, but it's also got some more, deeper themes and stuff to look into for older fans. And I think it's going to have that feel throughout the course of the series, like very much that Clone Wars thing. So I like that tie-in. I never really considered that until you said it, and now I'm like, yep.
Yeah, watch it again thinking, where's the Star Wars moments? There are plenty. I think there's about 6 or 7 that I picked up on, including some musical cues. And none of them are bad. That's the nice thing. It balanced that well, which is good. It's just like, you're referencing Star Wars here.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, but... No, I mean, all the characters were great. Better than I expected, actually. The way they came together was quite interesting, although, albeit a little confusing in one or two spots, and kind of very convenient in one or two spots as well. Like, hey, I found this guy.
I think it's fair to say the episode's story structure is its weakest part, which if that's the weakest part, that's pretty good. But definitely was not the most... Yeah.
But I think all the characters got a good introduction. We kind of got a feel for all of them in this episode. I don't dislike any of them, except for the guys I'm supposed to dislike. And one thing I've said before, too, like I said, the visual style is fantastic. Clone Wars vibes with the animation style, as well as I've referred to before, Transformers Prime. A lot of the visuals are very Transformers Prime, like almost exact same animation, and I really love that style. So I'm totally on board with all this so far. I hope it doesn't let us down. Hopefully next episode will be more, here's the ship, this is what the ship is for. I'm Janeway, this is what the Federation is. It's going to be more Federation centric. This one was just getting to that point. Yeah, exactly. So we'll maybe learn about the ship, maybe learn about some more stuff that is more related to Trekyards.
What the storyline of the show is.
Yeah,
more related to the storyline is. Yeah, they just, but I kind of appreciate it. Unlike Star Trek Picard, where they really wasted a lot of time on Earth, they literally added new scenes that just padded out the time. This was, I thought they were going to be maybe stuck for 2 or 3, potentially. But no, they were like, this is just our A point. This doesn't really matter in the context of everything else matters way more. So let's just get them straight out. So I was kind of surprised how quick that was. Even if it was a 2-parter, I was expecting. So that was good, I think. Because it almost does feel like we had to get past this one to get to episode 2. Not that episode 1's bad, but you're always going to remember episode 2 more. Because it has more cool stuff in it.
Yeah, this one with the length, it did feel at one point that there was going to be a part 1 and a part 2. There was a natural separation to break this into 2 episodes. But I'm glad it was a full, like, almost hour-long introduction. So yeah, I thought that was great. I just hope it doesn't screw up the IMDb numbering, because that happens a lot of times when they do this kind of thing. So, but this is episode 1, and I'm loving it. I'm on board, not only with the show, but I'm also on board the Protostar. Love the ship. So I want to see more. And we saw a lot. We saw L-Cars. We saw so much great stuff.
Yeah, there was still framed a couple of things that like, well, that's an interesting thing. Only a couple, though. They were quite character-focused, obviously. And I just want to jump back to the character for a second. Yeah, I was quite pleased with the main character. While he's a bit every kid's show hero ever, snarky, fun, like, he's super generic in that way. The actor did a great job. Like, he's the one giving personality, and I thought that was good. Although, the strength of the first half was no one speaks the same language, which was a great little double MacGuffin. But obviously he then said everything. It's very much like a fan film where you've only got one character. He says everything, which is fine. But thank goodness he actually carried it, because he did a good job. It kind of opens up a bit the second half. Like you say, almost in 2 parts. It was almost a little bit too him-centric in the first part. Almost.
It was, but I mean, he's the main character. He's the captain.
Is he, though?
I guess. I don't know. We don't know yet.
I don't know. I thought the ladies kind of implied to be main. I don't know. We don't know.
That's one of the things I didn't like about this episode, was the fact that even though they didn't speak the same language, they couldn't understand each other. He knew that he was a Tellarite, that he was argumentative, like things he shouldn't have known really, unless he just was witnessing him arguing with other people, and it's always an argument. He also knew like the different races and stuff, which is fine, I guess. You know them in your own language, but
if he was brought here a couple of years ago as a slave, there's no school here, and if you can't speak to anybody, you're not going to learn anything practically. And I don't even get the sense he ever met the Tellarite guy. That was just he stole his thing one time. I didn't know him. So yeah, that was definitely odd, but that was for the audience. Because you would never call him a Tellarite unless they told us. He doesn't look like a Tellarite in the abstract. He's fine once you say it, but he looks more like a Taxian for sure.
Well, it makes me wonder how long he was there for, because having that urge to escape for that long, and finally just that being the day, it was, It's almost like he wasn't there for very long. I got that feeling anyway.
Yeah, there was definitely a weird juxtaposition of, you spend the first 8 minutes him escaping, right? And it's not very hard. I know he gets helped a little bit, but it's not very, it's presented as quite an easy thing. But they don't really punish him, and so if that was his first time doing it, okay. But his personality is, I'm going to try and escape every day of the week if I can. So that implies he hasn't been there more than a year, 2 years maybe. But because his spirit hasn't been burned down. So there's definitely some story there. But also he knows about the Kazon guy, so he probably was brought in by him like everyone was. So there's probably, I guess, 1 or 2 years, but even maybe less. I don't know.
He's been there a while, because she knows him. She's obviously somebody
But she would have met him when the Kazon met him. Because she's a translator, so everyone meets her.
True, but it seems like they have more of a relationship because she's interested. You get the vibe that she's very much like she likes him. So they've had more interactions. They've talked about the stars before. They've talked about her getting into space. So they've actually had moments together off screen that we didn't see. So yeah, at least a year or more would be my guess.
But not a ton more though.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it was his whole life, and yeah.
Which obviously was the same for every character, which might be part of it. Like none of them were born there, clearly. Maybe the purple creature was, who knows? But there you go, Murph. But no, I think everyone else was definitely brought there, which I liked. The the Kazon thing was nice, give a sense of how and why, and I really appreciated the context. The entire purpose of the colony is to find the ship, and it's been doing it only a couple of years, so that does give you a timeline anyway. Like there's obviously it's a very direct story. It is about the ship. It is about whatever. Although that comes to one of the problems, and I'll sort of skip characters a bit. We'll go back into that later. But the pacing problem. One of the weirdest moments in it is when they get the ship. They turn it on extremely easily and escape extremely easily, but they lift up and they go through a waterfall when they're only about 15 seconds of flight, which means they are literally right near
behind a waterfall.
Like I know they went down a chasm, but you would think you would have anyone who's excavating would search the local vicinity wherever they start excavating. So it was literally right at the point they were going to find it. So they were probably days away or weeks away from finding it, and that itself was a weird. Like you shouldn't just travel 5 seconds and find everybody, like a mass of people. That was definitely a poor editing choice. The way it was cut, it made the whole escape feel even easier and simpler when it shouldn't have felt that way. There was no wow, we escaped until the big fly out. Like the initial escape was very, very easy.
That was one of the moments I was talking about that confused me with the waterfall. How easy that was. How they were somewhere and then they fell and found the ship.
Yeah, that's the worst pacing issue because it right turns. There should be like 5 scenes in between of him like going through caves and discovering, but the editing's very bad there. I guess the rock crushes the rock guy, and the rock guy doesn't crush the hero into the floor of many ground floors down. But then later on, they just walk into the cave as if it's just a place you could walk into. But then they were in a deep thing that was already the bottom, and
they still had to go down the cavern to go up the waterfall. That's fine, but the one thing that really bothered me was you're sending me to the surface. Nobody still comes back from the surface. Then he's on the surface. Then the eruption thing happens, and then he's just back on the ship because he ran.
He manages to stealth his way from the top part all the way down, including remember the special excavator thing, like the Talaxian travel tunnel thing that was like a whole big deal that he had to, because he can totally sneak through every part of the facility, can't he?
I was going to make a joke about that. They were in a Discovery, or a Discovery turbolift shaft. So, I mean, hey. We got to see a Cetacean, because she's a Cetacean, looked in the credits. And also one of Morn's.
Was he, though? Because he just looked like a Star Wars alien to me.
No, it's definitely one of the Morn aliens, for sure. And it was a Cetacean, the little cat girl, because it says Cetacean and a few other characters in the credits. So that was nice. So we know they're near enough to the Federation space that we have some more Federation species there. And the Kazon are bringing them, apparently. So the Kazon must have expanded quite a bit. We don't know where
the Kazon have expanded for generations. I mean, just travel left and you can make new conquered space. That was fine. That was fine to me. Yeah, it was all... Again, that's why I said in spoiler free. There's a lot of kid logic. How did he get here? Oh, I don't know. He just did. Doesn't matter. And how did they then get... Also, how did they get back up to find the Tellarite and then get back down again secretly? It's like,
they were linked together, and then they were being watched, you would assume, much like the Rorpente scene. That actually, the scene in the elevator reminded me very much of that scene. So yeah, there was a bunch of disconnections as to we're here. That was the biggest thing for me that bothered me.
Like, I don't think this kid has no technology. They have nothing, so they can't fly. So at least there'll be cameras in these different tunnel shafts. Like I say, he's being watched. There'll be spider robots near him all the time. It wasn't a plan. They didn't know where he was, and also the Tellarite joined very quickly and easily. Like it just, there was definitely the middle was the weakest part for sure. There's like a few scenes of we just need to get to the end. We just have to. That's it. But I like the argumentative side of the Tellarite. That was a fun scene for sure. That was nicely done.
Well, he even explains why that's going to be helpful. I mean, you get to see a different point of view to make better decisions. He does say that. And I do love the fact that even the main character is like, I thought I was the captain. And he's already showing captain tendencies where the engineer's like, I'll need at least a week. You have a day. That's what captains do. They want everything right now.
Yeah, and then a very Kirk J.J. Abrams style running on the hull, etc. vibe with the end scene.
That scene bothered me. There was so much wrong. He would have fallen off so many times, lost that canister.
Well, and the fact the robot just didn't shoot him.
And the fact that the robot jumped just as the shields came on, too.
And the shields aren't a bubble. They're a thing. They're the shields, yeah. But they're just pressed on. Do they even press on? I don't know. Yeah. It's, like I say, those are the children show issues where it doesn't matter because they don't have to think it through fully. And I don't even know if they know the answer. You know, we just have to go from A to B to C. But I did like, and I was quite surprised actually, how they gave the daughter a good amount of character. She wasn't as villainous. She was more sympathetic. She had, like, you could tell she did want to help her dad in the abstract. Like, she was okay to help him. Okay. She wasn't like the hurted, scorned daughter, that trope. There's a bit more depth to that. There was like, yeah. So I kind of liked that. And obviously, they're in the last of their race. They've got some special powers. All was interesting.
And the father's like, I don't want her to find out about the Federation.
That was one of the best moments. Okay, we've got a plan here. We've got something.
So he knows about the Federation. She doesn't. And I assume most of the workers wouldn't.
No.
Because otherwise the word Federation might slip. And she can understand everybody because she's a translator. So it kind of makes you wonder where this is taking place in the Delta Quadrant. So, interesting vibe.
And I mean, maybe he's trying to get the Federation to take some tech or whatever. There's definitely, yeah, that was some interesting stuff. And boy, Tron vibes. Him being in this rotating cylinder was fun with a big master computer thing. So no, it's some interesting visuals, and I think the balance of sort of generic sci-fi look was well handled because it kind of had a unique vibe. Like they knew the art design of this planet, and so everything carried through. But also, it was never about that. It was always about the characters. So it doesn't matter about the tech. It doesn't matter about anything. You know, it was all about the characters, which I think was the best way of doing it in that sense.
Yeah, and some beautiful dramatic close-up shots of like eyes and stuff with reflections. Like the animation is stellar. Like it is amazing. So I'm really happy about that.
So yeah, it was good. Like I said, pacing problems and some slight story problems, but excited to get. You know, I'm a bit disappointed that Hollow Janeway starts with the wrong com badge in the sense that obviously that was they put that on the trailer on the teaser art because fans would expect to see it, but that's never going to be the com badge. They've got the Protostar com badge, which hopefully they explain because it's a very odd one. It doesn't really fit with anything.
That being said, there's a delta on the door they go through, a regular delta, and then they actually walk over a regular delta. Starfleet.
That's got a split in the middle. In the middle, it's half and half.
Yeah, I thought it was just the command delta star that was just extended up, but actually on closer inspection, it does appear to be split. So
they're doing all of the deltas.
Yeah. It does look good, though. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, better to have a middle split than a weird, wonky side split. But yeah, excited for episode 2. I think episode 2 will be a better story. And I think, the pilot episode, let's go straight into episode 2. Well, I kind of said we didn't get it next time on, but as with Lower Decks, just wait and see, I guess.
This is the way now. More Star Wars references. Anyway, yes, guys, let us know in the comments section what you thought about this. Did you really enjoy it? Were there things you didn't like? Who's your favorite character? Let us know in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel because we do stuff like this all the time. You don't want to miss that, so click the notification bell icon to all. And just throw a thumbs up on this video. Join us for the live complete breakdown later today.
Those are fun because we'll actually sit and stare at a frame for a long old time to get all the mysteries and all the secrets. And you guys
get a split delta. I'll show you guys so you can see it yourselves. Yeah.
And just have fun with you guys in the chat, talking about things. And if you want to support this channel, because we do all this stuff with you guys' support, then super chatting is a great way. It's direct communication, you and us and you. And we can help you expand your horizons and vice versa as well. And of course, PayPal, Patreon, join the channel, all the great ways too. But really, that like and subscribe is worth a hell of a lot as well. So if you can, please do. And if you can't do any of those, if you can't even like it, just tune in for another video. Please do.
That's right. So until next time, guys, he's a hologram.
Well, I'm staying on now, Stuart. You've summoned me. That's how this works. You did it.
I'm sorry, guys. We're stuck with him. But anyway, he's Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.